Welcome back to those who have been with us all morning, and welcome to those who are joining us or are tuning in on Catch Up. Good morning and a very warm welcome to this special panel discussion on the National Day of Arts in Care Homes. I'm delighted to have you with us today. We're celebrating the incredible power of the arts and how they enrich the lives of people who live in care homes. I hope you're all enjoying the National Day. I'm sure there are lots of wonderful things happening across the country. We're already seeing things coming in on social media. Please keep them coming. Today's event is an exciting opportunity to explore the experiences of our panellists. Who are huge advocates of NAPA and arts in care homes and have come along to share with us their fantastic experiences, but also what's happening in their care homes today. So, without further ado, I would like to welcome these amazing leaders. We have Kian Kwan, who is the Associate Director for Wellbeing and Dementia Care at Runwood Homes Group. Steve Gardner, who is Head of Training and Wellbeing at Country Court Care, and Terry Eakins, who is Group Activity Lead at Forest Care. Welcome, all of you. Thank you for being here on this very busy day.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
How are you all doing?
Thank you for inviting us. Yeah.
Good to have you with me. And, you know, I want to just recognise that you're all very busy people. So taking the time to be with me today is much, much appreciated. And it's always lovely when I ask people and they just say, yes, of course, Hilary, of course we'll come. Of course we can make some time for you to come and have a coffee and a chat. So thank you all very, very much. So I just want to have you, if it's okay, if you'll just quickly introduce yourselves and maybe say a little bit about your organisations. So if I come to you first, Kian, you just tell us a little bit who you are and what you do.
Hello, my name is Kian Kwan. I'm an Associate Director of Dementia and Wellbeing, and I do take the lead of we recently changed the job title of Wellbeing, the Lifestyle Coordinators. I have to get my head around. So I do lead that group. So the main aim is enhance people's well-being, you know, so that's by doing everything. So.
And you've been at Runwood Homes for a long time, Kian, haven't you?
For the last 21 years, more than 2 decades.
Wow. And I think you're our longest singular NAPA member, so we always give you a nod to that. You've been with us a very, very long time. I think since the beginning. I think since NAPA opened its doors, Kian's been a member. So yeah, long time friend, Kian. Thank you.
Thank you.
Terry, can you introduce yourself to say a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Terry. I work for Forest Care. I'm the Group Activity Lead. We're a small cluster of 4, soon to be 5 homes, and I support wellbeing and engagement across the group. We all want to deliver best practice, make sure it's inclusive, diverse, and doing what we set out to do, and that is enhancing the wellbeing of the individuals we support. We support older people and individuals living with dementia.
Brilliant. Thank you, Terry. And Steve.
Thanks, Hilary. I'm Steve, Head of Training and Wellbeing at Country Court. I've been at the business nearly a year now. And yes, I was overseeing wellbeing at first and then transitioned to look after the full training programme as well. So I feel privileged to do so. But just echoing the thoughts of Kian and Terry, we focus a lot on everyday interactions as an opportunity to improve or maintain quality of life. And as we're going to discuss today, Hilary, the benefits of art and how we offer that variety. So it's great to be here.
Thank you. Thank you all. So I'm going to start with you, Kian, if it's okay. Can you just tell us a little bit about your plans at Runwood Homes Group for this year's Arts in Care Homes Day?
We have been kind of celebrating National Day of Art with NAPA every year, and we have dignity theme of the month, and we always put September as dignity, no art without heart. That's our title. And especially this year, we are celebrating National Day of Arts in Care Homes in local library galleries. So the first exhibition was held in Colchester Library, and the second one is on display at Harlow Library now until the end of the month. And actually, Colchester Library asked us to extend another week. And,
wow.
And a new exhibition will begin at Cookstown Library in Northern Ireland on September 23rd next week. And additionally, homes in Doncaster have been collaborating with artists, and their Thai work tile work will be, pottery work will be used as a backdrop of Doncaster Museum. So we have been preparing for the events for kind of since beginning of the year, and we were talking about it. But this year is much more like, really happening. It's happening, but it's really happening. And we have organized that artwork with 27 care homes, residents work alongside the local school, children, community members. And that we followed Napa's theme of home, which created even more significant kind of, materials and things to produce. Because people have kind of, because our residents aren't all William Turners or Pablo Picasso. So we had to make it like the curation was really incredibly important matter there. Yeah. So if you display anything, everything, it doesn't. But then we made kind of storyline, life story work together. So when people visited library, they didn't think it was residents' artwork from the from local care homes. And when they actually read the story, they were kind of really moved, and they could see the story. So in the library often, they've got registration office of birth certificate of marriage and death, and there's the people around there, and the people come and read the book. So it actually made a hub of the center of community by doing this.
How amazing, and what an enormous endeavour to coordinate 27 care homes in England and Northern Ireland, and to work with all of those libraries. I mean, that's really quite a project. So congratulations to you and your wellbeing team, because I think it's important, isn't it, to just take stock about how much work goes into some of these projects. That is amazing. And the fact you started at the beginning of the year, knowing that in September you'd really be able to kind of showcase it as part of Arts in Care Homes is just brilliant. So thank you, first of all, for that, for doing all of that amazing work. Terry, can I come to you now? Why do you believe the arts are essential for wellbeing with the individuals that you support?
I think they play an integral part of the well-being. When we look at art, we often think it's a paintbrush and a canvas, but actually art can be expressed in many different ways through music, and then we learn through music that we can tap into emotions, we can evoke memories, which then can, we can lead into validation or down into life story. It empowers people. We've recently set up a choir, which was very, very small, and many of the individuals said, "Oh, no, I can't sing." Actually, it wasn't about whether you could sing. It was that coming together, that enjoyment of music, that social feeling, that elatement when you're sat there in the moment. And the choir has grown, and now one of the individuals wants to lead the choir. So, the wellbeing team can essentially take a step back now, and that's resident-led. And
that's a brilliant example. Yeah. That is such a good example, especially because you might have an idea, you're not really sure what's going to happen with that idea, and then suddenly, before you know it, your wellbeing is standing back, and it's just being, that is just music to our ears, really. I know that Runwood Homes Group have also got a fantastic choir. Something for your list, Steve. I don't think you've got one yet, but maybe by next year you might have a choir too.
Not an official choir, but I just want to just echo what Terry was saying then, and I think it's having that opportunity to give people the chance to be creative, make a decision. Do you want this colour or that colour? Doesn't matter what it looks like. And I think one of the key elements is creating that fairly free environment. It doesn't matter what you do. The beauty of the arts is it is art, whether that's music, whether that's sound, whether that's painting, crocheting, whatever it may be. And I think that is one of the key aspects of creating that fairly free environment, and giving them the opportunity to make a decision, make a choice. Over to you.
And to do something that, as Terry was saying, that they're not necessarily think is their thing. So I'm not a singer, I'm not a dancer. I think that's giving people an opportunity to be playful as well. And we know, particularly with some of the individuals that we support that may have learning disabilities or dementia, is that they might have an inhibition. And this is obviously a positive, isn't it? An inhibition that comes with living with a learning disability or with dementia sometimes, that actually enables that creativity. And I think sometimes we need to be thinking all the time about how to do things slightly differently, so that we're not too worried about the activity. It doesn't matter if we kind of stray off path a little bit. And we hear that so often from activity providers. So often they will worry that they might start out to do one thing and they end up with something else. And we say, fantastic, because you're being led by the people that you're supporting. That's absolutely great. Don't worry about that. Because the creativity has kind of taken on or led the activity somewhere else, because you're being led by the person or the people. It's brilliant. So
and creativity and curiosity comes together, isn't it? It's about accepting it, any element of kind of breaking the barrier of, what is art. I think Terry and Steve, you really addressed it really well. And it's not just visual art, everything. And that's why I think home worked, the theme of Napa, that involves everybody's life.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think we need to be thinking really broadly, don't we, about what's creativity, full stop, rather than just the arts. So Steve, I know you've had some amazing projects this year, some really impactful projects. Do you just want to share one of them with us? Let us know a little bit about what was the purpose, what were the outcomes?
Yeah, so at Country Court, we generally do arts throughout the year, and this year we had the theme of celebrating art in June, and it was building up to today, so we can have a presentation in terms of what we're going to be doing. And there was many projects that we've done, but one of the homes did a fantastic job. They wanted to create a yarn bomb, so lots of pieces of knitted material put together, and it makes a really big yarn bomb. Anyway, so Lincroft went ahead and did this, and they reached out across the country. So even into Scotland, down to the south coast, we have many people donating. And I think Kian touched on this earlier regarding the local community. So that project itself allowed them to reach out to the local community, create these yarn bombs, bring them together, bring lots of different cultures together. There was a stimulus. They did it to the theme of the swinging 60s, because that's where they sort of looked at where it originated from. And yes, so they had a theme, and that was only the remit, really. So they created this yarn bomb, and hopefully, if you search for Lincroft, look on socials, you'll see some of the pictures. I know Hillary, you'd have seen some, and Natalie as well, as part of the Country Court in Bloom project, because it was that big we could design the garden with it.
Wow.
It is incredible. So credit where credit's due to Lincroft. That was a fantastic project, and it was a big one. I mean, that was one on scale and on size, and it brought many people together, and there was thousands of these yarn bombs that was pulled together. But obviously we had many care homes that was doing what you may perceive to be smaller projects, but they was just as impactful for the lives of the individuals as well.
I think that's a brilliant point, really well made. That it's fantastic to have a big project. Of course, it's great fun to get everybody involved, but at those little things, and I'm sure throughout today, there's going to be lots of examples of the little ways in which the arts make a difference to somebody's life. And they make a difference to the staff as well, in terms of how they practice and how they're able to build relationships with individuals, and how we can involve family and friends as well in really small ways that make a really big difference to people's lives. So very good point for that. Thanks for that, Steve. Kian, can I just ask you about how you make kind of arts activities inclusive at Woodward? Have you got any particular examples of how you've managed to do that across? Obviously, you've got lots of care homes, you're working with many hundreds of individuals. How do you make sure it's person-centered?
People had kind of thought of how we're going to do that, and then we had like bi-weekly meetings on Zoom. Sometimes we had a bigger group than smaller groups, and then we were actually kind of narrowing down by meeting them every time. So I knew the homes about what's been going on, so kind of the things what they've been doing. So they're kind of telling them that's an art, poem is art, and it's being kind of really truly inclusive. And one of the residents, when 103 years old she was that time, she's 104, Ada went to the home where she grew up in Epping, and that was her wish, make a wish. And then her fellow residents, Pamela, who was an artist, so Ada took a picture of her outside her house, and Pamela painted Ada sitting outside. So
Wow.
It was kind of really connected, and that's actually exhibiting in the art gallery as well.
Wow.
And then so those people who used to do, who's got arthritis, whatever, we were kind of overcome with by using different materials and different. It doesn't need to be kind of. And one of the homes, they used cotton bud with a peg, so they could only dabbing painting, and they created garden. That's part of the home, isn't it? With stock flowers, so that kind of thing. So whatever we kind of, then while we were talking, they could see how they're all a kind of valuable piece of work, and they revisited, and lots of people were kind of surprised by themselves by doing that.
It's really, that is just so powerful, isn't it? And the thought of including other people in someone's personal experience like that, other residents, and for them to have an opportunity really to learn about somebody else's life, but through their experience actually being there. I mean, also fantastic that you were able to go to that person's home, but also the use of tech as well. We can go to everyone's old homes now, can't we? We can use technology to find where people grew up, where they lived, and to have that experience and then recreate it with art. I mean, that is just beautiful. And I really need to get to one of these exhibitions before the end of September, don't I? It just sounds absolutely amazing. So obviously we've talked about lots of the positives, and there's always challenges. We work in care settings, we're realistic about some of the challenges, but also where the learning is in those challenges and how we address them. Steve, any thoughts on how you overcome some challenges and any learning that you might be able to share with that?
I think there's quite a lot to look at. I mean, first of all, we touched on it earlier. What does success look like? So for everybody that's within the care setting or even visitors, what does success look like when we're doing a project? What is that? What are we trying to achieve? And I suppose it's an education, it's an understanding when we're running projects or activities that people are on the same page in terms of this is why we're doing it and this is for these reasons. Where sometimes you may do a session and they might not be their expectation. So actually, why have they done that? But maybe don't really understand. So I think education's one, that's a challenge for everybody within the sector, but we're working on that. And that's what we're here for. That's what our jobs are for, to be able to support people to understand what we're trying to achieve. I would say the other challenge would be is levels, the level of the activity and how we make it achievable for the individuals that are in our care setting with different levels of needs. And I always go back, I can talk about life stories for days, knowing an individual and how you're trying to create a project around an individual's interests to motivate them, to get them to that session, and actually then get them involved through their passions and utilising art as a way to be creative around their interest and their passions. So once again, that comes with education, that comes with training. That is a challenge, and down to the people delivering the sessions, being able to understand actually we can adapt, we can change, we can maybe to make it more sensory based for certain individuals, but make it actually the full art project. Which once again, it's how you layer it in. Do we make it a project? Do we make it for some people? Oh yes, I want to be part of a project. That sounds important. That sounds what you might call age appropriate for certain individuals. They want to do that, but that's not right for other people. And once again, that comes down to us in care homes to be able to manage that, to be able to say, actually, for these individuals, this may work, but if not, let's try it, but then let's monitor that after. On the flip side, I know that will definitely work for these individuals. So those are a few challenges that we generally face. But I will repeat, it is down to the people that support the residents and us to help support and coach people and support like NAPA in terms of the training to make sure people understand that actually these are the benefits, these are the outcomes, and look what we can achieve together.
What a perfect answer, Steve. I'm going to bottle that. That was wonderful. And you've even got NAPA support in there too. So no, 10 out of 10. Thank you. I am aware of the time, so I just want to come to Terry now, if that's okay. Terry, you're leading across your group of almost 5 care homes. You're really on the ground, aren't you? You're in there every day, working alongside your activity providers. With that in mind, and given all the amazing things you've done over the years, I mean, you're exceptional practice, which has been, you've won, I think, I can't remember how many awards you and Forest Care have won about your incredible activity provision. What advice would you give organisations that are just thinking about embracing the arts in their activity provision? Where to start?
I'm going to use that word, what you just said, embrace. Just embrace it. Don't be worried about it or fearful. There's often a feeling when I speak to APs that they feel that they need to know everything. Actually, you don't. We've got internet, we've got the Napa support service, we've got the shed, we've got each other. There's lots of support groups. There's outside communities. There's like organisations like Living Paintings and things. It's don't be afraid to ask questions, and and we don't feel that you need to know everything. And sometimes things don't work, and that's okay. Sometimes some of our best projects have come from doing something what we essentially didn't get right in the beginning, but we embraced it and we moved with it. And it turned out to be amazing. Just go with it.
Go with it. That's a great, just go with it. That's fantastic. Hashtag just go with it. Brilliant. You've all been amazing. We're dead on time. Look at that. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you all very, very much for joining me this morning. Next up, we're going to be talking to Emma Hewitt and Douglas Noble about the power of music. Stay tuned. We've got all sorts going on this afternoon too, with our partner organisations, and of course a fantastic lunchtime concert with Songhaven. But for now, thank you all very much, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.